Yo, yo, yo. W's in the chat. We back. Took longer than I expected, but the plus side of taking too long is when we come back, there's more to do, right? There's another T-Bay chapter. WWWW. What up, Heavenly Bodywear? Mr. Mushmellow. What up, Chase? First time chat. Nice. Chapter T-Bay we on the latest one, which is whatever's out right now. So here's what we'll do. To optimize the streams for YouTube, what we shall do is we will post the full stream to a certain extent. Like there's certain things that have to be chopped up, but we'll post that as its own separate VOD so that even if I need to like clip stuff later as its own separate video, there's still the VOD version of it, if that makes sense. Because like if I get into reacting to anime, I would have to chop that up, but gotta catch up on Nano. Yeah, we gotta catch up on a few things, but they ain't going anywhere though. Let me see. Make sure another chapter didn't come out because I don't even know how many days it was since I even opened this browser. Let me see. All right, looks like we only got one new one so far. Up in the Mama playlist, I can't find it anymore. I don't know. We're gonna add more chapters to it. Let me see. Let me get the right window open here. Should already be set up. So, good news though. Interesting thing. Maybe it was the volume, maybe it was the selection, but the SoundCloud, I just smelled something crazy. The SoundCloud, I'm losing my train of thought here. The SoundCloud playlist did not get copyrighted. So, oh, the song playlist. Oh, like on SoundCloud or on YouTube? Oh wait, this song's kind of hard too. Hold on, what is this? These remixes be going crazy. So yeah, so I'll add more to the playlist if I like them as well. So yeah, so my first monetized webtoon video in a minute, because the last one that we posted a couple of weeks ago, that one got a good amount of views, but it got claimed by a bunch of niggas, like 15 niggas. Just jumped that shit. What trainer did I go on this time? I don't know. What would I call it, actually? You know, actually, the best way I can articulate it is just to look at what I've been posting. That usually matches the theme. Because like on Instagram, I post like constantly. I spam on Instagram. So all the different webtoons that I don't get around to streaming that I read, I post those to Instagram. Oh, I've been on my raid boss arc, you know what I'm saying? We're climbing the different floors of the Tower of God, essentially. And as you go up each floor, there's like a dungeon boss that you have to defeat before the door opens, if that makes any sense. Like, and much like in solo leveling, you know, I was just on the phone with Minicon earlier and I was saying he's on his own solo leveling arc. He hasn't watched it, so I was trying to put him on, but there's certain dungeons that only Sung can go into, right? There's certain dungeons that you have to go in on your own, and you can't even really tell anyone else about the dungeons, because even if you did, they don't have access to the system, so they wouldn't even be able to perceive the dungeon's presence, right? It only appears to you. And the rest of the world might not see you go into that dungeon, but you notice that when Sung goes through a dungeon and his levels go up, you know, it affects his aura. It affects, you know, he gets stronger, the way he carries himself, right? And yeah. So, because what's so funny is that what we're gonna call it, side quest, the excursion that I went on wasn't like really a physical one. In fact, I'm actually gonna be probably more mobile this week than this past week. But like, you know, a lot of times it's like, you know, you have to just go in that deep meditation, right? Like you have so many stored up experience points that you haven't even cashed in yet, that you've accumulated through your life's experiences, you know? Like still to this day, I'm unpacking the data that I've already collected, right? Extracting more information. Raid boss arc, damn, so you leveling up. Yeah, so yeah, raid boss in more ways than one, infiltrating these platforms. I'm gonna have to get more integrated in the Discord, but if somebody has access to the Discord, they could hop in there and do that shit. But I'll probably build a new playlist because I want to see how many songs I can get away with using without them getting claimed. And then shit, if I make a solid playlist, we could share it, right? Y'all could use it too. And then you would, if you wanted to use it in the background for stuff, you know it's copyright free because I've tested it. This one's kind of heat too. So far, none of the, I like the songs I'm kind of looking for, they kind of have to be like, I don't know if a neutral vibe is the right way to describe it, but like some of these, they be just going over the top. Like it's just niggas screaming and shit. I'm like, you don't even be doing all this. Okay. But let's try a different song of that actually. Even though I will save that one. I just see a lion gambling on my ads, so I don't know. I like this one too, but I'm gonna go with another one. I've heard that sound too much. I'm getting tired of it now. Some songs, they get spammed too much and they're not remixed in enough creative ways to keep me entertained. Hold on, I'm gonna cheat and skip ahead and see how this sounds in the future. Okay, I'll use that one. Seems like it's kind of quiet, but I see Drake cosplaying a Jamaican. I did not. Okay. So I don't know if I'll end up going and breaking up the chapters into separate videos, or if I'll just upload the stream and clickbait it as T-bait and then just put in timestamps. Sounds like the move, honestly. Seen the Solo Leveling anime? Yep, we've seen all the Solo Leveling anime. All of the reactions are on the YouTube channel. All right, we're gonna wait for this ad break to end and then we can hop into it. Boondocks? Chainsaw Man chapter? Oh, you've been reading Chainsaw Man? I need to catch up to that. So many things. Actually, okay, yeah, this song, I'm actually not. I'm taking this off my playlist. It's like a suppressor is on it or something.
During the activation of his domain.
Okay, we'll have this guy narrate in the background.
Sukuna saw it.
All right, so
With his own hand.
Castle in the Sky. So this is chapter 179.
And in that very moment, Sukuna
Finished the boxer a couple weeks ago. Oh hell yeah.
the gleaming ray of hope that emanated from
Seen Monster anime. I don't know. What up, Saber Beats? What up, Heavenly Druid? I'm saying that right. All right, ad break's over. All right, we're having a meeting. Castle floating in the sky. We ganged up though. We got our cat. Look, it's mom and dad. They decided to join the war. Oh, he on demon time. Look. Oh wait, screenshot. Hold on. Can't miss that. Any cold art shot, bro. I'm lucky gay for this nigga, so I can say that we're on Pride Month, you know. Little protagonist sexual. Why is this not loading? Hold on, let me refresh the page. He's locked in, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like I would let him marry my daughter, bro. Like, he just exudes honor and respect and loyalty and drip. Let him cook. That's what I'm saying. Look, even the cat's like, oh no, who's pissed off my dad? Do I have any right to stop my parents from fighting in the war? What the fuck? Objectively, they would be great additions. Been a while since you've seen this? Yeah, and like honestly, I've actually been preferring the new art style. That's probably what that means I can go wild. Booty Warrior, I would say you can go a little bit more wild. Nothing crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I'll give you like 15% buff, but like that's as much as we're going to allow there. I didn't look it up, but this year, I know he's dripped out, waiting for the Baki and Oma fight. Is that confirmed? Oh, a boxer anime? Oh, I don't know. Okay, but to have them on the front lines risking their lives, I don't want that, even if it's selfish of me to ask. Come in. Bro, I sometimes think about that, you know, like sometimes I think about certain things that I have to take care of, right? Then I'll also take into account, oh, like sometimes you can be selfish. Sometimes you can be like, there could be things that you wanted, that you probably should do on your own, but then like you just don't want to be alone. So then you try to do it in ways that might actually slow you down or it might actually impede other people because you know, you don't want to do it by yourself. But at the same time, there's also like that factor of like and this is what I think Arthur's dealing with, of like wanting to keep his family safe, right? And so in this scenario, they want to help, and they probably would help a lot. They probably make a huge difference, but because it's his family, you know, and this is what he's saying, he's being selfish in the respect of like, even though his family wants to help, and he knows that they might actually help a lot and make a difference, he doesn't want them in danger. And like, he's basically, in a way, it's almost like he values his family more than the rest of the world in some respects, because he's willing to compromise. But I mean, let's be real though. Art's parents aren't making that much of a dent. Like, honestly, they probably should stay. Like, it's really not that deep. But like, I understand that like his dad is like, he can't be like little boyed by his son. So I can understand that. And then if the dad's not going to sit back, and the son's definitely not about to sit back, then, well, so his mom's gonna have to be like, all right, well, I guess we about that life now. Like, how is Arthur, didn't he hit some sort of time chamber? I still think I don't even know if he's finished with puberty yet. I feel like he's still in his early teens. It's kind of hard to tell. The art style and the way that they, like, he says solo leveled so much so early that he's just so dripped out at an early age, it's hard to gauge it. But I mean, you know, at this point, he's a reincarnated king from a past life, so I feel like keeping count is regardless. It ain't about to nerf him or anything, so. Though his parents also happened with the bear he gave to his sister. Oh, that bear grew up into fucking Ursa. Like, it grew up into stage 3 evolution. He's like 16, 17. Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, let's see. We weren't expecting you back so soon. Were you planning on leaving without saying anything to me? Of course not. But we wanted to prepare before you go back. I thought you were going to wait until Ellie was older before doing something risky like this. Commander Viren advised us to stay until Ellie was older, or until you came back. I don't believe you've suddenly decided to fight just because I'm here, so why? We got a transmission from Helen. There was an attack in the dungeon as everyone was leaving. Oh shit. What? That's not possible. I was just there yesterday. Damn, the moment he left, they were probably waiting for his ass to leave. I cleared the dungeon and killed the S-rank mutant myself. There was a hidden entrance in the walls. Oh shit, it was a double dungeon, bro. More beasts appeared. Oh shit, while he was gone. The twin horns stayed back to buy some time for the younger siblings, but awakened as awkward as parent meeting. But I mean, your kid isn't your kid is also awkward. When he tried to tell him he was a reincarnation. Oh shit, they got jumped. Oh shit. Oh, did they die? Oh fuck, bro. Adam, he didn't make it. Yo, he got off screen. That's crazy. That was a Yamcha ass death, bro. That's wild. Damn, that can't be right. I was so sure there weren't any more beasts. Not the cool nigga. Bro, he was going crazy. You couldn't have known. Ellen said the other entrance was blocked off. The walls, damn, bro. This nigga be going through it. Like, he's already trying to save his friends, and now more of this other squad, the moment he thought that he had taken care of them and left them behind, they got jumped by more monsters through the back door. So you gotta check your 6, bro. That's why you gotta clear the dungeon. You gotta do all the side quests. You can't go into an area and then like you don't explore every nook and cranny, you know what I'm saying? Like, miss a treasure chest and somebody else come and swipe it and there's a legendary item in there, you know? The walls obstructed any mana you could have sensed. Damn. No one was expecting a battle. The twin horns did their best to hold them off, but there were more deaths than anyone expected. Tessia. Who else? We don't know. How do they know that the other guy was dead? How do they find out about that one? Just like Jurassic Park, yeah, no peace. We don't know. It was emergency transmission. Oh, that's why. They were like, well, they're killing us. And then it got cut off, probably. All Helen could relay was the situation in Adam. I'm sorry about Adam. I really am. But to join the war because of this? Don't misunderstand, Arthur. We're not doing this out of guilt. A soldier's life is always in danger. Even so, you both have every right to join the war, and it may be selfish of me to try and stop you from going. Literally. But isn't it selfish of you to risk both your lives when it isn't only unnecessary but just reckless? Think about what would happen to Ellie. If either of you died, what that would do to her, what that would do to... It is selfish. and we're aware of the potential consequences, not only for us, but for you as well. But don't blame your father for this decision. I'm the one who wants to go back to help the Twin Horns. What? You want to go to war? Yes, I do. But you can't. Damn, everybody's squatted up. I mean, Dad told me you avoided using magic because something happened in the past. Why now? Shit, they can't be caught lacking again? Sit down, Arthur. Let me tell you something. Ooh, now they gonna break something to him? We're reincarnations too. Is his dad somewhat OP in a way? I mean, he's like above average. Like they lived in an area where they didn't really have access to advanced magic training, and he's a reincarnation. So, but I mean, you know, he's like I think a orange mage or something. So yeah, he's like above average. Like Art's not really a fair like comparison to power scale as Dad, because Art just supersedes. Like this man is on God level. Like he's talking to these other dragons and shit. But his dad is like a solid, I think, orange core mage, which is like one of the highest like in the verse for the most part. Like the white core mages are like there's like 10 of them in existence. So like those are like really rare. Or like whatever, like there's only like so many where they are able to immediately get recruited to the highest ranks just by showing up. My thoughts on the new artist, and do I think they butcher any designs? No, actually, I don't even think I would have noticed the design change if no one told me that, but I actually think it's improved. I think like it's matching that aesthetic, because I would see like so much art for T-Bait, like for like their like the cover arts, and the cover arts had such a sharper and grittier aesthetic to it. Like it looked like soul leveling almost, if not like more like mystical. But like at the time, you know, when I was reading it, where it was at, it like the art style didn't look like it could even replicate that vibe just based on the limitations of that art style. So I kind of figured, much like with the earlier chapters in the beginning too, it was similar. Like they changed the art style again. I don't know if it was the same artist or not, but like the art style will change depending on like the aesthetic of the arc that it's on. So as things get more serious and it get more of like a, you know, a sharp edge type of style like this, you know, like no, I'm fucking with it. Like last chapter we screenshotted basically the whole thing because there was just such much heat. Like, don't I have a problem with this test? I don't actually. I think her design is really cool too. I don't even remember how it used to look. I'd have to go back. It's been so long since I read it, but like but nah, like I feel like there are no complaints. Like you'd have to be a stickler. Like if it's just not your preference, that's fine, but like it's solid. Like I just don't know how you could argue against it. I would need like specific reasons. That sucked me very weirdly, but the background art specifically is amazing. I don't know. It's like also they be growing too. The detail of the faces and hair. Yeah, I mean, what you have to understand too is that like every panel, there's like the base art style, and then they like, so long as they like, it's like with an anime, right? You don't need the whole show to be animated to a certain degree. Like you just want them to animate specific points like that. So like, so long as if like they have like those shots where they're like really detailed, which I'm pretty sure that they had, but like they also, it's kind of similar to, and I feel like every art style needs to eventually achieve this state once it gets to a certain level of commercialization, much like with even Boruto or I'm trying to think of another example, One Piece, right? Like they had their original art style, which you could tell was a lot more hand drawn. And then they had these like middle age periods, this like growing pain of like that awkward puberty stage where like the animation was dumbed down so that they could put it out more consistently, but like not so much to the point to where it was unwatchable, but like definitely like at an expense of some quality, right? And it seems like, especially with One Piece, it seems like they've really figured their thing out with their art style they're using now. And Boruto art style still needs some work, but they make it work in certain episodes or certain scenes. What's so funny, you know, I feel like I just have a different approach to the like creative direction taken with certain anime, just because as a content creator, like I can just respect the, like as someone who makes content myself, I can respect the like choices that they make in terms of like efficiency or just like, you know, preserving the quality of certain things or whatever. But then it also makes me more of a stickler for when there's just like corners being cut. But like I remember people were complaining about with Boruto how they would recycle animations. Like they would take the same frame by frame scene that a character used and then put it in a later episode and then just add some more animation to it. But here's the thing, here's my argument against that, or my argument in support of that, right? for someone like me, I'm not about to watch 80 episodes of mid. So I'm not about to even sit through that shit. I'm just gonna skip around to the parts that look interesting, that pique my interest. So for someone like me who isn't going to watch all that fucking filler, right? When you put out an episode that you know is going to attract a lot of viewers, you need to put your best foot forward. So if they were putting out, it's like when I did my best of handling controller videos, right? Where I would be uploading all this content throughout the month, but I'm not going to have crazy editing going on in every video, right? I'm going to get the content out, but then I'll take all of my best moments and compile it together. And I feel like I have nothing wrong with an anime being like, you know what? We're going to like use this, we're gonna pad out the length of these episodes. And if it's trying to be a long show, right? And we're gonna use this time frame, we're gonna have a specific type of art style that we use to carry us through that time frame to where it has moments of intensity, but it has room to breathe as well. And then we're going to take those same techniques and we're gonna copy and paste the settings. And then we're going to take, it's like for me, if I'm editing a video and then I come up with a, like if I come up with a preset, right? And then just take the same preset and then that we made in this other episode and then move it up here and then maybe just remix it around, right? And obviously, you know, you want them to be creative with it, but like, I feel like it's kind of weird to being like nitpicking at something and being like, oh, well, like if you reverse it and then play it, if you flip it and play it in reverse, this is a scene, and then you trace over it and they change the colors, like this was a scene from another. It's like, bro, like that's, I don't know what to tell you, bro. This is how animation works. Like everything isn't going to be like just drawn from scratch. All like it's not even reasonable. They don't even get paid enough as is. Like, but like there's going to still be that stuff in there too. You know, like they're gonna just keep getting better and faster and more efficient. Like I would say that I would want there to be a balance of the two, obviously. Like we're not about to sit here and watch niggas just be lazy animators, regardless of the reason, and just give it an excuse. Like if it looks shit, it looks shit. You know what I mean? Like, and also I would say like if you're a long-term viewer of the show and you're tired of seeing repeated animations and that's your criticism, that's a valid criticism to have. It would be like, just that's what you had to experience for keeping up with the whole thing, I suppose. But to a new viewer, that's why like even for me, bro, like I won't even be caring about spoilers for stuff anymore because I feel like being spoiled when you don't want to just ruins that expectation that you've set. But like for me, I'm just like, well, if I just already know what I'm going to see, and then now I'm just more like wanting to see what leads up to that point, I've actually become even more invested. Like, especially since when I'm reading and watching stuff for the first time, I'm not going to pick up the entire plot of what's happening. But if I already know a little bit of context, and the thing is, I'm not even gonna know the full context of it the first time I see it anyway. So like, I feel like everything like needs to be looked at. If it's worth your time, it needs to be looked at a couple of times anyway. So I just look at it as the preview. Like I just take the plot, my desire to see a plot development and my desire to see something animated, and I separate them. Like I think it's still cool to have those moments where you just authentically experience something that you didn't see coming, but I feel like that will happen naturally anyway. I don't feel like we need to try to manufacture that by keeping things away from us. Like, I mean, half the time I'd be forgetting anyway, so it'd be brand new all over again. Like, let some months pass, I'm like, oh shit, he did that? It's like, and y'all will be like, Heavenly, we read this.
Without question, if any one of you has the misfortune to confront him, that person's fate is sealed. You might as well prepare their grave.
All right, let's just go to my playlist, the likes that I've collected. I like shit, not actually shit. What? Anyway, access old TV videos. If you can find someone else to download them. Orders are on terrible, so I can't defend it. Honestly, I agree. People need extreme criticism. That's how they get better. Look at Black Clover, the evolution of their animation look. At Boruto, also they saw complaints when it went seasonal. Oh, nice, nice. Bad animations or art segments are needed for evolution. Yeah, I mean, we all fail. We all take L's. You know what I'm saying? We've all put out a video that we forgot to edit, and then we got a bunch of comments shitting on us. Like I remember one time I made this video. I was like really on my grind and I was uploading every day, right? And so, but like as a result, I would miss certain things. So I was moving so fast, like I wouldn't check over everything, right? So like I would post. I remember I posted this Xenoverse video, and it was like it wasn't like a stream. It was just like a VOD that I recorded, right? So like when you're the difference for recording for like a video, a YouTube video, as opposed to just like editing a stream into a video, is that like you're kind of trying to manufacture entertainment in a way of like you're trying to show specific things. It's more premeditated, right? So like if I'm like in a VOD that I'm recording for a YouTube video, it's not a live stream. Like I'm going to like, I'm gonna like go into like a turtle for like it's like a lot of the video is really just setting up the video. And so I had posted like a video where I didn't, for whatever reason, instead of uploading the edited version, I uploaded just the raw footage. And I remember I was seeing comments, they were like, damn, like Heavenly just like, he's just not the same, bro. Like, or he just doesn't game as good as he used to. Or it was some shit like that. I don't even remember. It was like these comments, it was like, bruh, like you literally just like saw the edit most of the time and just don't know what the unedited version looks like. But I thought that was funny. Oh, damn. Yeah, anyway, I missed any chat. Currently, I fuck with any art, good or bad, as long as it's pleasing in a way or how it portrays the story itself. Facts. I can't agree. That's what My Hero fans do, and that's why this shit sucks ass now. I haven't had a problem with My Hero from what I've seen, honestly, anime or manga. Some complaining is needed. I agree. I think bullying does work. Like, you can't bully somebody who doesn't need to be bullied. You know what I'm saying? Like, so. Or to. 2-minute fucking ad. Shit, should have been longer, honestly. I doubt the animation companies look at the complaints unless it reaches a large scale, and Black Clover animation wasn't even that bad. I mean, I feel like that might have been the case back in the day, but these days, like 100%, these niggas, they will like look on Twitter or some shit, or like, you know, they see the criticisms for sure. Like, I feel like what is getting better now is people being able to take criticism and not necessarily like, and I'm not talking about regular people, they can't still take criticism, but more like people who make art, right? Like, I would say artists, right? Of being able to take criticism and like sometimes like feed into it, and then other times not take it too seriously. Because what I don't like seeing is when too many people complain about something and then they change it too much to the point to where it's like worse than before. Like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, right? Where people were complaining about The Last Jedi, or was it The Last Jedi? I don't remember these names, but they were complaining about that. And then in Return of the Jedi, they just retconned the whole all the character development in the second movie. But that's because it's Disney, right? And Disney is all about trying to please everybody, right? And like they got the right idea, they got the right spirit, but sometimes you need to have a certain level of discernment in terms of like, I feel like when it comes to anything, like any good form of art, whether it be a video game or a movie or whatever, it's going to be misinterpreted by certain people, or it's going to have a very surface level impression at face value, right? Like, oh my gosh, I still could not believe how many people were hating on Last of Us 2, bro. Like, that was just like the level of a lack of appreciation for just like work. Like, even if like, bro, like if I'm watching a movie, right? Like, let's not think of from the scale of a Rotten Tomato score, right? If I'm watching a movie, then maybe the plot is shit, but like, what if there's like really good cinematography, or what if one actor in the movie just has really good performance, right? Like, you need to unlock that like artistic shotting gun and be able to like zero in, because at the end of the day, honestly, we're all artists, even if we're not trying to be. We can't help ourselves. Our existence in and of itself is art. So like, for me, I could watch a bad movie and find something to appreciate from it that might not even been its intention. In fact, that makes it easier to do, right? When I figure out like a movie or a TV show, like if I'm watching a TV show and then the story isn't really that good, I now can turn that switch off. I do not need to know what's going on. I don't need to pay attention to this. It's not really something that I care about. Maybe the story will get my attention back as I watch it. Who knows, right? But like, maybe I like the aesthetic, or maybe I like, bro, honestly, I be paying more attention to the plot when I'm not trying to. Like, hey, W sub from Jinx with Prime for 6 months, 1 month streak. Why do I post so much on TikTok? Because you just asked that question. That's why I do it, so you can see it. That's why. Trying to get your attention. That's why I make your own movie. Then you want the way you want it. Be the boss of all the time. But here's the thing, bro. When you unlock the site, you don't need to really make anything because it's already there. You just need to be able to see it and tap into it. What was I going to say? I'm losing my train of thought here. Yeah, like if I'm watching something, I feel like I approach it in a very objective way. I don't necessarily have an expectation, nor do I need it to do what it was intended to do. I just want to see like how it affects me. Like, I allow it to like neutrally influence me and then see what that does. I had this other comparison that I couldn't even think of, but And once again, sometimes I think like I'm just phased at a different frequency with certain things, bro. Because I was watching one of these Divergent series movies, and to be fair, it was just on TV, so it was like cable. So like I haven't like followed all those movies or whatever. But I was watching one of them, and just the way that the characters were interacting, and it just, I was like, it was like just like it was laughable. It was like I don't even want to know if I can even call that acting. Like, but once again, I might not just know what's going on. So like maybe it's like, because I think that the Divergent series is in a world, it's like some like The Giver type world, or it's like some Brave New World type shit where like all of the people are like, or like the Maze Runner series or whatever. So I was okay, maybe they're all just socially awkward. Because I do remember there's this one scene in the first movie where like the character, they're like, oh, don't look in mirrors because it's gonna make you vain or whatever, some shit. So like, I'm like, maybe they're just weirdos, or not, that sounds mean, but like maybe they're just like they're just high functioning autistic. They don't know how to interact with each other, so they just kind of like, they kind of size each other up. There's these two people, they got in a fight, they're really about to kill each other, and then some guy says something, and then he's like, oh, my bad, and then they proceed to cartwheel off of the train. I'm like, oh, okay, well, shit, like in unison, and now they're just walking, and then like, I don't even know, bro, there's a lot going on. But I could be watching a show, and like I was watching Teen Titans the other day, right? And I was just randomly paying attention to what was playing on it, and it was a scene between Robin and Starfire. And Starfire's an alien, she's from another planet, so she doesn't really know the culture of Earth as much. Her only understanding of Earth's culture is basically from Robin, because Robin's the one who she kissed and learned the language from. Like, so it's basically Robin's perspective of the world that she kind of imprinted. But like, Robin is a very like Robin's a very like nuanced person, let's just put it at that, right? And Starfire, like, she has a very just neutral, pure view of everything, you know. That's why she's Starfire, right? She literally needs to draw from joy in order to use her powers. If she can't feel joy, she's not even able to fly or some shit, right? And so for Starfire, she was like, yo, like, she was getting stronger feelings for Robin. And then Robin, he doesn't even know how to even respond to that. Like, he's like, she's like, oh, like, I need to understand what this is. Like, we need to resolve this, like, right now. Like, Robin's like, I mean, I fucks with you, we're friends. And she's like, oh, really? Like, but like, if like, it's like certain things. And also it's interesting too, is that like, they have a like guy and girl dynamic, and like having a friendship with a girl is a lot more complicated than a friendship with a guy, right? Because if you have a friendship with a girl, it's just like, well, like the boundaries have to be established more or tested more, right? So he's just kind of like, and even Robin doesn't even know, bro, because like Robin, this nigga, he's just about fighting crime. He probably don't even know how what's appropriate of like how he's supposed to be friends with a girl. He's like, oh, like, am I doing stuff where she likes me too much, or am I doing stuff where she doesn't like me at all? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Robin's just like, oh, well, I think you're really smart and nice and da da da. But and then meanwhile, he's leading the whole Titans, bro, and he's still a kid, right? And it was like a similar episode with Cyborg, where Cyborg felt like his like almost like his autonomy was being threatened. Like, he felt like Robin was giving him too many orders, right? Because Robin's the leader, but like Cyborg's like, but like, well, I was gonna say, he's like, well, I'm a grown-ass man. Well, he's a teenager, but he's like, I'm a man. Like, I'm Cyborg, bro. Like, I only follow you because I, you know, have mutual respect for you. But like, if you're gonna start disrespecting me, he's like, I'll go out and start my own tower and do that shit. And then he ran off, and then they had to get him to come back and stuff like that, right? But just the fact that in the Teen Titans show, it's like they be having to fight crime, and like, you have Slade, this nigga can fly and shoot fireballs out of his hands, and is trying to use Raven to bring about the end of the world because fucking Trigon is trying to possess him and shit, right? But like, meanwhile, they're beefing over like, you know, just their emotions for each other or whatnot, right? While also still trying to keep the team together. But yeah, that's a lot of shit. That's like, I feel like even Art is dealing with too. Like, he's like, bro, like, I have to go and do this war, and I have all these ultimate powers I have to use, but I have to make sure that all the pieces are placed where they need to be in order to do what I have to do. Like, as you see, he literally just ran off somewhere trying to help, and as a result, people died, right? So you can't be reckless or you can't be brash. Like, and once again, same with art. Like, he is a reincarnation, but he's still new to this world. You know what I'm saying? He's still figuring out what's going on himself. So he's actually the most magnificent, disgusting manipulator. Bro, Slade is just like, that nigga is just literally pure evil, low-key. Like, the Teen Titans Slade, like, I think that he's like, he might be the Joker. Like, you know what? That's what it is, bro. They don't have the Joker in Teen Titans, so they needed Slade to be on that level. Like, he's basically, like, this man literally, like, okay, like, I mean, yes, the Joker is like, he has a philosophy, I would say. Like, he be tweaking. But Slade in Teen Titans is just like, I don't even know how to explain it, bro. Like, he just likes fucking with Robin, bro. This nigga literally will die and come back to life just to fuck with this nigga, bro. Like, I'm like, what do you even want, bro? Like, he'll literally become a Slade of demons just so he can bully the niggas that he gets off on making mad. Like, Slade is Joker featurely locked in. Slade is Joker with League of Shadows training or some shit, bro. Bro, hey, actually, you know what's so funny? It's like, Joker, actually, I feel like this nigga can scrap, bro, because the fact that Batman has been trained of every martial art, right? And he just can wash like 50 niggas. But like, somehow the Joker, I feel like the Joker, he's not letting us know, like, he's hiding something, bro. Like, the Joker, he should not be able to scrap with Batman like that. Like, I even remember in the Arkham games, like, the Joker, like, I mean, it's not like this nigga got martial arts, but he's just a nigga, bro. Like, he'll have his knives and his traps and shit, right? He'll have the little hallucinating, the laughing gas on his flower on his chest and shit. That's what he does, bro. He just covers himself in bullshit. Like even in the Dark Knight trilogy, right? He gonna pull up with a fucking bomb attached to him. He's just so crazy that he's willing to make it to where if you touch me, you die. And but that, you know, I respect that. That's like, he's really about that life. He's decided, he's like, I'm gonna do this, nigga. Like, it don't even matter if I blow up because I need you to think I'm gonna blow up to let me do it. That's the only way. You know what I'm saying? I keep my finger on the trigger, bro. Like, Slade be tweaking way more than Joker at times. I feel like Joker's crashed out so far that he's just like, you know, he's just perpetually tweaked. Which sounds kind of fucked up, but in a way that makes him more chill because he's just like, he's surrendered to the process, right? But like, yeah, Slade be going back and forth. Like, that nigga hasn't decided whether he want to crash out or crash in. You know what I'm saying? He's still, he hovers between both extremes, you know? I don't know if I would ever say he's a good person necessarily, but I mean, he's just kind of like, I don't know, he's trying to pay his bills low key, like, but he also don't like niggas fuck with him. You know what I mean? Like, he has that pride as a swordsman. Bro has lived this whole time, live this whole time. Oh, welcome. Yeah, we've been reading this T-Bait chapter. But what we never told you, Arthur, was we had another member before you were born. Another member? Wow, that's an interesting way to translate that. Oh, shit. So he had another member, I'm assuming. That seemed like a weird way of not telling us, like, that it was a boy or a girl. Oh, okay. They're going to tell us. Her name was Lensa. Okay. So wait, another member. Oh, another member of their crew, of their squad. That makes more sense. It was like another member, like another child before Art. Okay. Her name was Lensa. She was my exact opposite, brash and straightforward. But somehow we hit it off right away. The opposites be attracting sometimes. And she went crazy too. Look at that, bro. She went crazy. She was already a well-known augmenter before she joined the Twin Horns. Bro, look, she had moves off rip, bro. Damn. Oh, RIP to the guy that got off screen. Damn. So it's a surprise to everyone when she asked to join us. Like, what? Damn, look, she took all these niggas out by herself, bro. She didn't even need help. It was impossible to think about the Twin Horns and not think of Lensa. Yeah, because she probably carried them, look. Look at the other girls in the back. They're like, damn, look, she's taking all the niggas, bro. Look, all the niggas talking to her. They just left in the back, look. Hey, she got that Riz. Look, oh, look, hey, she's a W wingman, though. Hey, look, we got some cute girls behind us, too. Oh, no, they were talking about their crushes probably to her. She's like probably just like one of the bros, low-key. She knew how to handle Adam and your father. She could even make Jasmine smile. Okay, she was just able to get to everybody. But she was only with us for around 2 years before the accident. Damn, what happened to her? We got careless. We were ambushed by a pack of stingers. Oh, damn. I closed everyone's wounds as fast as I could. Okay. For the others, like her father, this helped them recover much faster. Their wounds were in their hands and legs, and they healed easily. Oh, but where was her wound? In her heart? Oh, shit. Yeah, hers looks more serious. But the stinger venom and Lenza wound was close to her mana core. Yep, that checks out. And the venom spread. Damn. They're like, oh no, she can't perform magic anymore. Damn. Her mana core was permanently damaged. Damn. She can no longer practice mana manipulation. I thought I did all that I could, but I had learned that if I hadn't closed the wound, a doctor could have easily extracted the poison. I robbed my best friend and teammate of the true joy in her life. Lenza always said she wanted to die gloriously in battle when she could no longer use mana. Damn, so she didn't even get to die in battle. She just got to live with not being able to... She's got her bending taken away, basically. She went into a dungeon by herself and never came back. Damn. Maybe she got in... Well, who knows what happened, though? Maybe she'll come back and she, like, went in there and figured out how to do something that didn't require mana. Because, look, she don't look like she going to give up, right? Look, she got her sword on her. She going to go try a nigga. That's what it looked like. She going into the abyss, bro. It was my fault. She would have been fine if I hadn't healed her. Not everyone's life is as exciting as yours, Arthur. It wasn't some dramatic calamity that befell us. It was slow and quiet and heart-wrenching. But we loved her truly. I've been scared to use magic for anything more than minor injuries since. I know Adam's death isn't the same as Lenza's, but after everything the Twin Horns have done for us, I feel it's time for me to be there for them. Truthfully, it's been hard to think about you fighting while we're here, safely twiddling our thumbs and hoping for good news. And Ellie, if you guys don't come back, Arthur, no matter how strong you are, death rarely comes from weakness. It sneaks up when your guard is down. Man, that's some real shit. So she can't use mana no more? Well, yeah, I mean, if her mana core got poisoned, but she looked like she went into a cave, like she went into a dungeon with her sword. It looked like she's going to, knowing her, because she was so strong, right? She carried the whole team. So like, it's one thing if just any mage lost access to their mana core, right? They'd probably just give up. But for someone like Lenza, she's probably going to find a way to get her mana core back by somehow dealing with the poison, or find some alternative way of combat that doesn't require her mana core, because she's just about that life. She sure did look like she wasn't gonna go and die. Yeah, look, she was walking in that cave with aura, bro. So yeah, they're over here. Ooh, I'm not concerned about her, bro. Like, y'all better hope she come back soon to save y'all asses, if we're being real. The same goes for you, Arthur, but at least we would have done our part in helping us win this war. I'll protect your mother. You can bet our goal in this war will be to return to you and your sister in one piece, but you have to do the same. We may not have raised you as we thought we had, with your past life memories and all, but you can be damn sure Ellie sees you as her loving brother, so don't be too eager to sacrifice yourself for some vague greater good. Even if we lose this war, there will always be a chance to fight back. Sometimes you need to know when to retreat. Tend to your wounds. You only truly lose when you die, then there are no second chances. And then he'll just reincarnate. Been there, done that. Like, that ain't got no antidote they ain't got no antidote for the poison. Well, that's why you gotta go in a place where nobody's been, right? Because if you're told that something doesn't exist, then the only way to find an answer that you don't agree with is to go somewhere that nobody else has ever been. That's the only way you could find evidence to the contrary. Yeah. There was rain on that day. He sure isn't dead. Oh, I don't know about all that, but there was for me. You know what I mean. I feel like it's too soon to joke about that. Let's see. When a song starts out and there's no noise for like the first 10 seconds. Was it just quiet as shit?
I have all the characteristics of a human being. Flesh, blood, skin,
Who's knocking?
hair,
Commander Varian.
but not a single
And this nigga like,
identifiable
You need to have some sleep. Also, let me know if the music's ever too loud, bro. I might have it turned up too much, but I'm not sure. The thing is that every song is a different fucking volume, so. But yeah. Please, you're Arthur's parents. Call me Varian. Seems the mom healed her wound too early, so then the poison spread and fully affected her before they could heal it. Yeah, like basically the mom didn't know how to heal her properly. And like if she had waited for the proper healers to come, they could have easily healed her. But and the mom was just trying to help. She felt like just trying to keep everybody alive. But it happens sometimes, you know. They just crying over spilled milk. Go in that cave. Get that shit back, bro. Even Ichigo got his story for your powers back, you know what I'm saying? So anything is possible. I have faith. I heard about the passing of our former party member. You have my deepest condolences, but I thought you should know we've just received word. The rest of the soldiers, they're arriving now. Oh, I thought they got taken out. All right, bet. Okay, let me see, hold on. I've been streaming for 48 minutes. Thinking of whether or not I should try to, just because I'm kind of behind schedule with other things I was gonna do, but thinking whether or not I should try to get some Kaiju number 8 in as well. But it's like, what I'm thinking is, what I'm thinking is, oh, I'm not even saving this VOD. Bro, I need to find my laptop charger because I would be able to do so much more. I'll probably just post the VOD to Google Drive or something. How do I think the art is compared to before? All right, this is the last time I'm answering this question. If someone else asks this again, someone else has to answer for me. I fucks with it. Looks tough. No complaints. I like that. What I said earlier is that I like that it has a more gritty aesthetic to match that sort of like almost seinen atmosphere. That's how I feel about it. I don't even know if he saw that because we're on an ad break, but someone's going to relay that message. Bro, in all my years as a content creator, I've never mastered the ability to answer the most effective way to answer the same question that gets asked 20 times a day. If you go into one of these Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts, right? And like if you go into the Lion King world, you literally turn to a lion. You can't even be a human in the Lion King world. And like you're kind of nerfed in some respects because you don't have access to all your abilities. That's why I hate the, hey, what's up, Quincy Da Vinci? That's why I hate the, well, I mean, hate is a strong word. I don't dislike the Lion King world. It's just that whenever I'm playing a game, I always want to be as locked into the peak form of combat as much as possible, as quickly as possible. I hate when a game makes you wait 80% of the game before you can actually play it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, and I can understand how some games are like trying to carry through the story or they're trying to build up to a certain point. And I respect that, especially from a narrative perspective. But there eventually comes to a point, it's like, when do I just get God mode and then I can just practice my combos? And now I'm not so much focusing on unlocking my abilities, but cultivating and refining them. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, like in Final Fantasy 15, right? I literally would just skip ahead to get the, what was it called? The Armiger chain something, right? Basically, he gets this ability that it does make him pretty busted, but it's also just his original, it's just his true powers. Where what was it called? I think that it was only, not it was only available, but they made, this is literally why I bought Final Fantasy 15 twice, right? They made Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, and then they innovated the combat of Noctis's Armiger to the point where it was like, you can basically do anything that your creativity can think of, right? You can teleport everywhere, you can fly, you can do all these different weapons and stuff like that. Like, I want a game to not nerf me. I want a game to give me unlimited powers, and then I want the game to try to resist my wrath. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't hold me back. Like, if I'm just like so powerful that you give me a certain level of control, you can't build something that can stop this. But like, that's what I like it. That's what I enjoy though. So like, and then when you do meet that, it's like, oh, okay. Because like, even if you're playing, this is why I think people are really into Souls games, right? Because like, even if you're playing a game that's not even reasonably difficult, right? It's like, but this idea that like any game, regardless of even what you're doing, like there's a series, there's literally statistically speaking, there's only a set amount of like frame data available to you and the game itself that can be utilized, right? Depending on however you button impress input into the game or whatever, right? So being able to find like your own unique code, your own unique combination of button presses that just shits on the game, right? Like, and oh my gosh, the most rewarding things is when you find a glitch or you find a bug or you find like a method that is like OP that like hasn't been patched. Like the developers never expected a gamer to figure out something, so they didn't put any contingency in to stop it. And then you just kind of spam it. And then sometimes maybe you don't spam it just because it makes the game so easy that you want to have some fun sometimes, like a barrier in a way. Now I don't really follow more core map story. There's a lot to keep up with that. But so check this out, right? So to go back to the original point. So like if you're going into a Kingdom Hearts world and you might get paired up with one of the characters from the movie, and then you can have them fall around you and you can use these abilities that they help you activate, right? But you can only pair up with those characters when you're in their world, right? They can't carry over into other worlds. That is, unless you get them as a summon, but the summons they're completely separate. The summons aren't even bound to the worlds. Those aren't even usually unlocked. They usually, a lot of times the summons don't even have their own world. Like they're just from the Disney ether, you know what I'm saying? But like they don't have a world that you can actually visit. But if you seal the heart of that world, right? And you unlock a Keyblade that has the characteristics, like if you go to the Mulan world, right? And then you got Mushu, and he's actually I think Mushu is a summon. No. Mushu is a summon in Kingdom Hearts, but I don't know if he's two. In Kingdom Hearts 2, you use Milan, right? You guys go against Shan Yu, use the little flame blitz attack. Then, after you beat that world, you get like some like dragon Keyblade, and then it boosts your fire magic. But yeah, so like, I feel like even when it comes to like different things that you like, let's say you're really good at a sport, right? Like, how would you what am I trying to say here? How would you close the keyhole of that sport? Like, what would be the peak? And that can take a different form. Like, that's the other thing too. Like, what is your peak experience of your interest in that sport? Like, are you trying to be a coach? Are you trying to be the best player? Are you trying to just understand the science of the sport? Are you trying to, keep up with the players, whatever it is, right? Are you trying to just extract the psychology of the sport's entire existence and apply it to something? Right? And like sometimes what you originally intend to get from that might not even be what you were looking for in the first place. Like, I mean, I feel like once again with content creation and things of that nature, right? I feel like this space has made me a lot more artistic because it's an artistic space, Like I feel like for me, I mean, I would say that writing is an art form for sure, but I've always considered myself more of a writer than like an artist, like someone who paints, right? Like I mean, I've painted and stuff when I was like in high school, whatever. But and like I was always good at drawing even when I was younger. Like I learned how to draw really easily, but it was never something where like it's like I feel like I'm one of those people. And I was just talking with my friends. He was saying something similar of like once I get above average, like relatively proficient at something, I kind of lose interest in it to a certain extent. Like I feel like for me, instead of me like because a lot of times what it is, it's like when you change majors in college, right? Like maybe like because I know I did this, right? Like you pick the major that's easiest for you so that you can hurry up and graduate, right? And just blow through it. But then you start to realize when you're at such a high level and you're so much better than everybody else at this thing, it's like, wait a second. Like maybe if I'm this good at this thing I don't care about, maybe there's something else out there that I could apply this level of genius onto, and it would be something that I'm a lot more invested in, right? So for me, I feel like just the sheer act of conquering something, it's almost like the next phase is to like low-key, I don't know if abandoning it is the right way. I would say integrating it into just like the rest of, like, it becomes a passive skill. Once again, like if you were to take a weapon that has a skill that you could only use when it's equipped, but then when you max out that skill on that weapon, then it becomes a passive skill that you can use even when the weapon's not equipped. And in that regard, then it's just kind of like, okay, I can just don't even need to equip the weapon. But then I'm pretty sure also, and this just depends on the game, but like I like this logic system. Like I think there's Final Fantasy games that do this. Even if you have, well, yeah, okay, so even once you max out that skill, if you equip the weapon is where you got the skill from. So the weapon augments the skill. And then like it has a specific property that only works on a maxed out version of that weapon. Like, man, I'm trying to remember which game that this was. It might have been Final Fantasy 13 or something. But Final Fantasy 13 had a really dope weapon system where, well, the thing is about Final Fantasy 13, right? And this is another thing, this is exactly what I'm talking about, bro. This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I feel like the way that my brain has worked most of my life is all about efficiency. It's all about getting the most, that's where I'm looking. I don't know if the word reliable is what I'm looking for, getting the most reliable result, but like the most reliable result, the safest result, the easiest result. You know, you want it to be as smooth sailing as possible, right? But so one of the things that I would notice when I would play games when I was younger is I'm usually playing them to beat them. So I would always try to figure out what is the most busted stuff to do. Like what's the most powerful weapon, the most powerful armor. Like obviously I'm going to just pour all my resources into that, right? And something that I feel like I started to understand a little bit more as I got older is that, you know, it's almost like that same logic that Trunks had when he was trained to fight Cell of if I just get my bigger muscles, then I'll be stronger, right? He wasn't as seasoned of a warrior as someone like Vegeta who recognized the flaw in that plan in the respect that, what is it I was literally just saying? That he needed more flexibility. He couldn't keep up with Frieza, or not Frieza, rather Cell, right? Because he was too bulky, you know what I'm saying? Like he had all this power, but like he's too slow to hit anything with it. So what purpose does that serve, right? And I feel like that's the same type of philosophy when it came to, like, if you're playing a shooter, right? And then everybody might default to a specific type of gun. Or if you're playing a fighter, everybody will default to a specific type of character. But what happens is sometimes you'll maybe take a low tier character or a gun that a lot of people don't really think is very viable, but you take the time to figure out how to maximize the capabilities of that character or that weapon and do it to an extent that other people don't pick that character, they don't pick that gun, they don't play that character, they don't play that gun. So they don't have a default contingency to go up against something like that. So you also just kind of have the element of surprise. It's like being a southpaw, right? It's like, it doesn't matter how much that you fight or train against somebody who's left-handed. The average fighter is always going to be right-handed. So it's always going to require a certain level of adjustment, right? Because you don't want to just only train to fight against southpaw and then that only applies to that rare circumstance, right? Or like even when I was in baseball, because I'm left-handed. So when I was in baseball when I was a kid, they specifically wanted me to be a pitcher. Even though I wasn't one of the better pitchers, just the sheer fact that I pitched from the opposite side, it made me just as, like, in fact, there were other people who were better pitchers than me that like, they would like if they basically were like, if you can just throw a strike, like if you can just learn how to pitch correctly, right? Just the sheer fact that you're left-handed will, like, they won't know how to go up against that, right? So the capacity to, you know, I always am on the philosophy of like, you know, going for the Achilles heel, right? Instead of trying to beat somebody at their own game, beat them at a game that they don't know how to play, or preferably a game they don't even know what's going on, right? Play chess, not checkers. I like use characters that's fun but take skill. I did see an ad for a solo game, but there's so many games going around now. I'm just gonna have to like one day just go through. Like when you get good at something to where you don't find pleasure in it anymore. Yeah, well, so I feel like the difference of like getting so good where you don't find pleasure in something, I think that really just depends on your relationship with it. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like one of the things I've been working on a lot even this year is like everything that I do has to make sense. Like I have to have rationalized why I do it to some extent in my head, right? Like in the past, obviously when you're younger, you're not really thinking about all that, right? You're just like, You're just chilling. You're just passing the time. And finding the ability to find chill within the also understanding of that chill. Like, there's like a level of like, it was kind of funny because like, a lot of times when I talk about my, like, I would be meditating on and all the things, it's like, you want to be in the moment, right? Like um, you want to ground yourself. You want to like not have your brain in all these other different places. But something that in my path to enlightenment that I've unlocked, that I've discovered, right, is that, as above, so below, right? So everything that people will criticize or think isn't divine or isn't high vibrational or whatever, right? Once again, it really just depends on your relationship with it, right? Like any type of trauma or any type of negativity that we experience is like some limiting belief of our ego that's happening within ourselves, right? And like you can still understand that and experience it, right? It's just like, I can be like, oh shit, my arm's broken, but just knowing it's broken isn't going to heal it. But I can recognize that it's broken and then take the steps that I need to for it to heal properly, right? So like, one of the things that I've kind of learned is that once you've centered yourself, you've grounded yourself, right? You've, New Game Plus or whatever, right? Like you clear the table, you clear it of all the debris, all the stuff that you had on there, right? Now is it okay? We're just gonna sit here on this empty table and just stare at it, like, which having the ability to do that, right? Like imagine like oh my gosh, like, I remember one of my exes, her closet, she had like a walk-in closet. It was like there's piles and piles of clothes. You couldn't even see the floor, right? And it was just like, okay, we're not gonna throw all of this stuff out, but we just need to get it off the floor and figure out where it's gonna go and what to do with it. So that initial phase of getting everything off the floor, it's like, okay, well, we got to put more shit on the floor. So it's not like the floor is going to be clear like this forever. But like having that clear floor, it's like, or even like at a certain point, she was just so over how fucked up that house was. She just moved into another apartment that was just like a lot more clean and brand new. And she was so excited about that because it was like, oh, well, like now this new apartment, it's like she can place all her cosplays or whatever the fuck, all that stuff in specific spots. She can decide where everything's going to go in this apartment from scratch with it having been empty instead of having to remove some other shit or clean some other thing or whatever, right? And for a lot of us, our like it could be our schedule, our life, our minds are like that, right? It's full of a bunch of clutter that might not even have came from us. It might have been stuff we picked up along the way that was left behind by other sources, right? And then it's like, okay, there needs to be that moment where you and it could depend, right? Like if you're a hoarder, right, and you have so much clutter that it would take so much effort and energy and time just to go through it, you might as well just throw it away because clearly it's not serving any purpose because you're not using it, right? Like, and that's also a part of raising your vibration too, is releasing attachments, right? Like, at the end of the day, these things are all just objects. They're just things, right? Like, you obviously you want to cherish your stuff and you want to like keep good care of everything. You want to do the best you can, but you don't want to let the loss of especially an inanimate object ruin your day or your life, right? So then it comes down to like, as useful as an item might be, how much of a hindrance is it by just being there as opposed to the value that it's providing, right? Like, you could be like, oh, I have, like, maybe you have a nice car, right? You have a nice car and like, it's like not a car that you drive anywhere. You don't do anything for it. And then the car is taking up space, or maybe it costs a lot of money and you're making all these down payments on it and whatever it is, right? And like, all right, well, sell this shit. Like, the way I always look at it too is everything that I've acquired in my life, like there was once a time where I didn't have it and then it just kind of showed up, you know what I'm saying? So like, what that tells me is that whatever it is that you're afraid of losing, it's not going anywhere. Like, it's like, it was there before you got there, so it's not going to go anywhere when you leave, you know what I'm saying? And you can look at that in a more philosophical way too, right? Like you can be very nostalgic and think back to a great memory that you had and whatnot, right? And then think like, oh, when am I going to ever experience something like that again? But then at the same time, you can also just, you know, by reverse engineering what made that such a good memory, just understand what things about yourself that created that environment, right? And then sort of take that energy back. And then sort of like, I feel like what we kind of do in our lives is that like, it kind of reminds me of the nine-tailed fox in Naruto, where like when the nine-tailed fox is out, this is why they need to seal this nigga, bro. When the nine-tailed fox is unsealed, his chakra is literally just leaking into the atmosphere in the midst while he's also destroying shit. And I remember, I mean, this was filler, but it was a cool concept where Naruto in Naruto Shippuden, he's learning to master the wind element of his Rasengan. And so he goes with Asuma to basically the source of where he got his little sash from, right? There was this clan that he was like temporarily a part of. And I don't even think this clan, I don't even think they were ninja. I think that they just were really proficient with wind elemental chakra, and they had like a lot of wind elemental manipulation, but it wasn't ninjutsu though. Like that's why Asuma is able to channel wind, or he's able to channel like chakra into his brass knuckles. That's the style of if you want to call it ninjutsu chakra manipulation, whatever they use here, right? But anyways, that's just like the lore of this character, right? There's this character there, his name was Sora, and Naruto ends up having to fight him, and he has so much, like he was basically like affected by the residual chakra that was released when the Nine Tails was unsealed, that it infected him, it seeped into his chakra. So like he actually can master it to a certain extent. Like he's able to go, I think, as far as like the Four Tails or something. He's able to use the Kyuubi chakra cloak, which I mean, that's not really that crazy because once again, Naruto in the war, he gives everybody a cloak, right? But the fact that Naruto, and then even when he got closer to Sora, it was starting to conduct an interface with the what was it called? The chakra that he had, or then even his dad, bro. You know what's so interesting? What's so interesting is that, okay, so the other half of Kurama was sealed inside of Minato, and the Minato died. So Minato being dead, I'm assuming just kills that other half of Kurama. But then when Minato is reanimated, that side of Kurama's back. Well, I guess the thing to look at the tailed beasts is that they live in a different dimension, or like they exist in a different way than humans. They're like souls. They're like in these like they all have their own pocket dimensions. That's why you can't kill the Nine Tails. You have to seal it, because like it can't die. It just, you can just send it back into its realm, and then but then like if you send it back into its realm, like if there's a portal that it can travel through, it's going to use it, right? Or even once again, the brothers, the I forget what their name is, Jinkaku, whatever. The fact that them just taking bites out of that nigga gave them permanent Kyuubi chakra powers, bro. That's crazy. So yeah, so like the fact that not only was his power divided in half by half of it being sealed inside of his dad, and then I think he ends up, don't they end up getting that back too? Like I'm pretty sure at some point, or I could be wrong about that, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure, because it was like yin and yang, it was like one was darker. I'm pretty sure at one point Minato just gives the rest of, because at this point, like the reason why he only sealed half of Kurama in Naruto is because they hadn't negotiated with it. So they were like, that's too much to seal inside of a kid. But now it's like, okay, well, if Kurama's on good terms with Naruto, hey, just throw that other nigga in there too. Like they'll fuse. Tailbeasts can reincarnate since they don't really have a body and they're made of chakra. Yeah, so you gotta like, that's why they specifically find a new host for the make a Jinchuriki, because if they don't continue to seal the tailed beasts inside of hosts, then yeah, they'll just find their own host, and then you got to track down that host, right? It's like the same shit with the Avatar. It's just like, let's try to figure out where that's why they killed all the air nomads, right? It's like, instead of waiting for the Avatar to show up and then try to negotiate with him, let's just figure out where he's going up here before he even shows up, and then just groom him to be on our side. Like, but just the idea that once Naruto was able to gather up all of the residual chakra that Kurama had dispersed throughout his existence, right? He was able to acquire so much more power. And when you live your life, you kind of do that sometimes. Like we all have like a tailed beast in us in a way, right? We have just like that like frenzied version of us that like it's not necessarily discipline. It's like that pure like desire of our ego, or like our instinctive desire, or whatever it is, right? That like when we're children, you know, it just kind of, it just operates like unchecked, because you know you've never been disciplined or criticized or whatever. And it's also, it's perfectly normal. Like that's just how you're naturally supposed to be. It's really just society that kind of conditions and domesticates us. But it is what it is. If we can learn how to master that and be deliberate with it, we can use that to evolve. But when you're kind of growing up, you're just kind of doing shit. Like as you get older, like especially for me, you start to figure out who you are. You get to figure out what you're good at, and like you can kind of reference back to your life and see all where the evidence is, right? And you can kind of reverse engineer where all of your desires and skills and preferences came from. And then once you found those sources, then you can just dissect, why did they come from these sources? What was the inherent meaning behind that? Like how did that program my subconscious? So you can kind of just take all that residual chakra that you've dispersed throughout your life, and a lot of it, you don't actually need to really physically go anywhere in order to reabsorb it. You can kind of just meditate on it. But I will say physically visiting places definitely plays a role, because I was literally like during, what was it, Memorial Day weekend, my mom, for whatever reason, decided to drive us all around the whole city, Long Beach. So I was just seeing a lot of stuff that I hadn't really seen since I was a kid. And it did like, it like activated like memories or like latent DNA. It's like in Fate with Shiro, right? Like, you know, when you're young, you have a high proficiency to become a mage, but if you don't practice magic as you get older, you can have your magic circuits permanently blocked off, right? And so he was able to reactivate his magic circuits. So I feel like some magic circuits got reactivated. Also, I feel like for me too, since I'm a lot more conducive, a lot more open to my energy, I'm able to do that a lot, like more deliberately, right? Now I have that awareness, right? But yeah, so like imagine the greatest feeling you've ever had. Now, what if I told you that that feeling that you had was really just a chemical reaction in your brain that was induced by a calibration of your 5, 6, 9 senses, whatever you would like to call it, right? So if you could eventually identify, it's like the same shit in the movie Limitless, where he has the NZT pill. It's basically like super Adderall, and it makes him a genius or whatever, right? And he eventually was able to reverse engineer all of the ingredients that was used to make the drug, and then just work it into his diet. And also, just from having taken the drug so much, it had rewired his brain to a certain extent that it didn't require as much help in order to facilitate the same state. So not only was he able to train his brain to retain the things that he learned while he was on the drug, almost like retaining some God key, right? Some Super Saiyan God key or some shit, right? But because he understood how the muscle worked and was able to manually interface with it, he was able to expand on it even further. And then I think like, I even watched the TV series of Limitless, right? Where he even makes a more advanced version of the drug. Like the main character in the Limitless show isn't Bradley Cooper, it's some other guy, where they literally just have like a limitless booster shot that they give him. And then he's able to be on like that in that state. And it lasts for like I don't even remember how long it lasts. I don't know if it lasted for weeks or if it lasted for hours or some shit. But I think that they made it to where not anyone could just use it in that show. Like I think he made it to where it was only compatible with certain people or some shit like that. But, and then he was at a point, bro. There was this one point in that show. This is actually a good show. They tried to, yeah, that movie is underrated, bro. Yeah, The Clear Pill. They tried to assassinate Bradley Cooper's character in the Limitless show, but his NCT powers were so strong that from like the inflection of like the glare of a sun, like he was able to see miles away. Basically, someone tried to assassinate him. They tried to snipe him, and he was able to move his face to the perfect angle where the bullet missed, and then he didn't even acknowledge it because he didn't want it to interrupt his speech. So he would just like be dodging sniper bullets. It was ridiculous. Or also like even that show Psych, where it's just like they think he's psychic, but he really just like has very high observation hockey, essentially. What were we talking about? Did I zone out? Basically, just this idea that there's so much that energy that you've experienced and maybe you haven't mastered, but you've interfaced with it, that you could take that energy kind of like back into yourself, you know, like take all that chakra Then once you've taken all that, you can just rechannel it in a very finite, a very specific direction, you know, like fine tune your target, right? Because by default, your energy is going into all these different directions, right? You're going into different thoughts, into different actions, into different people, right? But if you can find some way to manipulate that energy in which your mind and body and soul interfaces with that, right? Because you understand it, right? Like you'll understand that any limitation, any attachment that is holding back your ability to manipulate that energy is something that can be alchemized, something that can be purified and get more leverage over that, right? And then it becomes very easy to then fine tune that energy and aim it at the direction that you want. Like even when I was younger, I always intuitively recognized that there were certain things that were like almost like psychological attacks that I had already calculated that weren't factoring in to the actual execution of what I needed to do. Like I would sometimes go like into just sociopath mode where I would turn off certain levels of like stress, like or empathy in a certain situation where I've already calculated that it's best for me. So then if I stress myself out, then that's just going to make it to be where like now I'm fucking with it. Like I'm literally fucking with the plan by slowing myself down. So then I have to kind of just be like, just kind of like be in my own delusion. You know what I'm saying? And then just carry it till death. Like another thing that I noticed that I do, which is kind of funny. I don't know why I'm built this way, but like no matter how many times that I'm wrong about something, I won't see. Here's a trap that I feel like my ego does a funny thing that like is the opposite of what most people's ego does. I feel like the trap that most people's ego does is that if something like challenges their ego, like they won't accept it. They won't accept it as part of the reality because they're afraid of accepting the possibility that they were wrong about something on a very foundational level, right? But for me, I feel like what my ego does is that every time that I'm wrong about something, I'm just going to assume that it's not that I was wrong, it's just that I was just missing data. And so I feel like being proven wrong about something is just me gathering more data. And the thing is that even if I'm wrong and I gather the data from the thing that made me find out I was wrong, that doesn't mean that the source that proved me wrong was right. It just means that like, you know, I'm going to still assume that everyone else is wrong too. I'm just going to assume that like I was also wrong, like, or there was some aspect of what I thought I knew that I didn't. So I'll take that data and still come to my own conclusion, but I will add that information into it. You know, it's like, bro, like imagine you go, like you have to, this is once again, I feel like if you look at the life like a game, then you'll like experience it more objectively. It's like, imagine you go into a village and then you talk to all the people in the village on advice on how to like defeat the monster outside the village, right? And then you're going to be like, nah, like these niggas don't know shit. I'm just gonna pull up to the boss, and it's like, bro, they live in the village. They're haunted by this ghost. Like they know like what it does. Like you should maybe listen. It's like, nah, bro. Even though I've never been to this village, I'm just so good at killing. I'm so good at killing monsters. I'm just gonna pull up, and and then you get fucked up by the ghost, and then you're like, oh shit. And it's like, yeah, well maybe if you did some more research, like I'm thinking of in the Hunter or in the Witcher games where like when you're hunting you're on your hunts of different monsters, and you got to do all your research and stuff like that, right? That's the way I look at it. Like I'll be like, I feel like interacting with other people is just like, that's just me interacting with like other, like, I don't know, it's just more quest information. Like I don't have to do with the information and what it was even intended for, but like I'll take the information and then like, allow it to, you know, refine itself, right? We in a sim. Well, and if you know that, you know, just like take that to your advantage of like, so for example, right? Like let's say your most primary thing in your life, right, is to like, but then see, here's the funny thing too about this. I was gonna say like, let's say the most primary thing about your life is just like, I need to make money, right? So everything that I do has to somehow revolve around that. But see, the trap that a lot of people fall into with that, and this is sort of what's causing society to be what it is that they need to take it a step further. Instead of thinking about them needing money, they're not thinking about what they need the money for. It's just like having it for the sake of it. Or then if they think of what they want it for, they're going to immediately think the most expensive things that they can't afford. And they're usually these material things that have no intrinsic value. It's literally just been marketed to them to have value because of how much that it costs. So it literally, most things I've learned this, they are literally expensive for the sake of being expensive. Like there's very little to warrant its value, right? And I'm not talking about, well, this is how much all the materials cost, how much it costs to build it, but it's like, how much is its effect on your life worth compared to how much that was spent on it, right? Like if you buy, let's say you buy a big ass crazy house, right? Like think about how much like how many lives that amount of money would change, right? And it's all for just some nigga to just sit in it. And it's like, y'all could have sat anywhere. Like, you just literally, like, it's like a philosopher's stone. Like, you know, in Fullmetal Alchemist, in order to create a philosopher's stone, you need to put thousands of lives in it, right? So that somebody can create alchemy without any equivalent exchange. And it's just like, it's like giving someone a philosopher's stone and then they just want to wear it around their neck and go to parties with it. That's literally what it is. It's literally what it is. It's a philosopher's stone. So you in yourself are also a philosopher's stone in that respect. So when you recognize that, you'll realize that you're actually giving away trillions of dollars a day just with your energy in places where you don't even realize that's being siphoned from you because you never even realized that that energy was yours in the first place. You never really even were able to realize that this whole world belongs to you and not just a little small sliver of it that was given to you and told that was yours. And then you realize, oh, okay, well, if this whole world belongs to me, then all this energy is an extension of me. And I can recirculate that energy back in myself and then photosynthesis, you know what I'm saying? Reproduce. Unlimited supply of energy. The more you know, the less you know. Yeah, in some respects, I would say like you kind of like, that's why they say ignorance is bliss, right? Like, but the thing is, you do need to know a certain amount to like make sure, like you need to kind of like be your own parent in some, right? You need to be your own parent, but you also need to be your own kid as well. So you need to be able to like sometimes look after yourself in ways that like maybe you don't feel like doing something, but you know it's best for you. And because you care about yourself, you do it. And it's coming from self-love, right? But then there can also be times where you allow yourself, you loosen up, you give yourself room to breathe. Like you allow your inner child to breathe, right? Like sometimes you just need to like not give a fuck, right? Like there's a time and place to have responsibility. There's a time and place to be like, nah, like I would literally think sometimes like if I was a 7-year-old kid right now and with the resources that I have, what would I be doing, right? Like sometimes like that just means fucking around, like playing video games or whatever. And it doesn't mean you're not even doing it for a reason. Like you're just, you know, you're just giving yourself space to live. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, it's all relative. How can one be wrong? Yeah, it's all relative, bro. Another thing too is that it's all like somebody can look at your life and think that you're a complete loser. But they don't know your life. They don't see you. They don't feel you, right? It doesn't really matter what they think, right? I think that's actually another superpower that I've had from birth, right? I've always felt like I'm the main protagonist. What makes you the main protagonist, though? Like, is it your accolades? Is it how much money you make, how many friends you have, color of your skin, your gender? What is it that defines that? The only thing that defines you being the main protagonist is that it's your life. So your world revolves around you. So whatever's important to you is what's most important. If you are your own God, whatever's most important to you is your God. But understanding that comes from source. It's not, don't put it on the object, right? And so that's the way I see it. The way I see it is that if whoever this person is, I don't care. Like, that's why, like, bro, I don't really, like, people always ask me, hey, do you know who this person is? I don't know none of these niggas, bro. Like, I don't know about no streamer, no celebrity. I mean, I'll see stuff on TikTok or whatever. But like, I don't know none of these niggas, bro. Even like with artists, bro. Like people always ask me, where'd the song come from? Bro, I don't really listen to artists. I just listen to sound and then I keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I mean, obviously there's certain artists that I like to default to, but for the most part, I don't really listen to artists. I just be listening to just random TikTok sounds or SoundCloud sounds. That's why I like listening. I like listening to music that I've never heard before, right? I like to, and anybody can make music, right? I would rather listen to like hearing a beat you've never heard before can go so much harder than the best beat that you already know, just because the fact that there's novelty in it, right? And that's why I like apps like TikTok and SoundCloud, where it allows anybody to post their music right away and it can be fucking fire, you know, and it's original, right? And yeah, like I feel like that's what I really fuck with. Like I feel like my taste in music doesn't exist. Like I feel like it only exists in fragments from other people. And that's what's the cool part about making playlists, is that you're taking all these different sounds from places and creating your sound. So in a way, like curation, because I feel like that's who I am. I'm more of a curator than a content creator, right? And this is one of the things I was talking about once again when I was saying how it comes to like, everybody wants me to blow up and get 1 million subs on YouTube and get niggas think I want to be Kai Cenat or some shit or whatever. I don't know, but that's just not who I am. Like, I am very invested in the craft of content creation, not the shallow frills, like not the attention, right? Like I appreciate the art. I appreciate like just like what it's done for my life and what it does for the world and the positive effects, not just the negative, but just like it's very fascinating too, right? Like yeah, just there's so much that goes into it that is just lost in translation. You know what I'm saying? And for me, what I do when I approach my content creation in this platform, I'm not thinking about what's going to go the most viral. I'm not thinking about what's going to get the most views. I'm thinking about how can I make my content better? Not only how can I make it better, but how can I make the way that my content is produced as authentic of an expression of what I feel represents who I am and what my creativity is trying to articulate. And in addition to that, I want it to be an extension of my life. I don't want content creation to feel like a job, but there are certain components about it that require a certain level of discipline in terms of like, we live in a capitalist society where it's a form of slavery in a respect in which you have to work to live. And you know what's so funny? This is a brilliant design by this Matrix, right? And see, a lot of people don't realize they were Matrix, so they don't take that terminology seriously because their flame hasn't been burnt out yet, hasn't been snuffed out yet. You see, the way that society is designed is to have you continuously chase pleasure, but never fully catch it. Because if you catch it, you build a tolerance to it. So they want to edge you, basically. Edge you on pleasure until you die and run you through that for and also continue to poison you so that you don't live too long to wake up from the dream that you're in, right? But what happens with a lot of people, especially when people are very successful in a material way, is they get access to the entire reward basically all at once. It's just all dropped in their lap, right? And most people will spend their whole lives chasing things that they'll never attain. And other people are given all of it at like 22, right? So then what do you do after that, right? And that's why you see with a lot of these streamers or a lot of these people don't even know what to do. And the thing is that nobody's really qualified to tell them because they haven't experienced what they've experienced. So they don't understand, they can't relate, right? Like, it's not even about how old you are. Or about like how smart you are. It has nothing to do with that. It literally just comes down to a certain level of exposure that conditions you in a way that separates you from the rest of the world, right? And then you start to see the world as a matrix, start to see it as a simulation, because you start to see you start to see behind the curtain, you start to see the inner workings of things, because you become a part of it. You become a part of the show, and when you become a part of the show, it's like the difference between if you're watching a play and you're in the audience, right? You don't know what's going into all of the production of it. You're immersed in the performance. You're not looking at the lighting. You're not looking at you're not thinking about, oh, they went behind here and did all this, that. But like, if you've ever been in a play, you'll see how when they go behind stage and there's all this shit going on. So once you're backstage, it's like, now when you watch a play, you're thinking about all this stuff happening behind the curtain because you've been back there. And so your way you experience it is completely different. And to the average person, I mean, that's the whole point though. The average person is supposed to understand everything. That's how they become immersed. Which, can be a good thing. That can be an enjoyable thing, but it can also be weaponized against you too, right? Like, just where we're at right now, right? Like, this entertainment matrix of like, always got to watch the next show or play the next game, or like, what is this streamer doing, or what are these celebrities doing, right? And just constantly paying attention to all those different things to never actually stop to like self-reflect and think about, what you're doing with your life, because you're always constantly chasing that next story or that next thing. And then if you want to afford that next game, or if you want to watch the next anime, right, they got you in your regular job, or you got to, okay, I'm gonna just get enough to do this, and that. But it's really just like, it's like feeding a dog to keep it from barking. You know what I mean? Not realizing that there's a whole world that it's not given access to. And I'm not even talking physically. I'm talking about just mentally, right? Like, you basically, the way that things have been set up for so long is that your mental health has been at the mercy of society, right? But they do that as a way to control you, in the sense that you're always going to run back to the people in power, whether they're corrupt or not, just to receive that security that you were conditioned on, right? But if you can find a way to free yourself and detach yourself from that, not only will you no longer be a slave to that system, but as it starts to bend, the cracks and the bends and the way it contours, it'll stand out so much more to you as well. Like, and that's sort of where a lot of, like, you know, these great resets where, like, you know, have a group of people splinter off, is that once you see the shift, you can no longer follow that shift. You can no longer play along with that system anymore. And what you'll start to experience too is that the people around you will either seem very smart or just very dumb. There will be no in between. AW sub, oh shit. Dario Music gifting a tier 1 sub to Yaya. We sub WW. Like, once again, I was talking to Minicom about this too, about how it's like the level of, like, I mean, all of us influencers experience this, the level of brain rot that you see on the internet in terms of, like, just, I mean, for me, I've been known this for a while, just from what I've experienced, but a lot of people just realizing, yo, these niggas are actually bots. Like, it is what it is, you know? And so it's just funny because people, especially with, like, people online, basically everyone online is what an influencer used to be. Like, I feel like if you're an actual influencer, you've passed the point of trying to convince people or condition people, and now you're just to the point of just leading people. You're just like, I'm not really, like, for me, for example, I'm at this point, I'm not really asking for your what's the word I'm looking for, because not saying you're not asking for your feedback is the right way of putting it, but, like, I'm at this point to where I don't really need anybody's advice in regards to, at least especially with social media and things of that nature, because at least I'll take their advice and I want to hear their perspective, but it's never going to supersede, like, nobody can tell me that I don't know what I'm doing. But once again, you don't want to fall in that ego trap. There's always more to know, but you don't have to undo everything that you've already been doing when you get more information. You know, balance the two out. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to, even if somebody knows something that I don't know, I'm always going to know more than them in that particular subject, because that's just where I'm versed in, right? Or like if I just walk into somebody's studio, right, that they've spent like years building or understanding and designing, I can just be in a room and just look at everything and then like and just imprint all of that in data, and then I was like, okay, I can do so much more stuff with this than like anyone's even ever thought of or whatever, right? But yeah, but just like, and even just the idea of the manipulation of information, right? Like, you know, you can make a fake video and have it go viral, and even though a lot of people will know that it's fake, a good amount of people won't, right? And that can be, the thing is that it's not even coming down to like being two sides of, oh, who's going to be the one that is like, it's not even going to be like two groups of people are going to be battling with their misinformation. It's just going to be like the people who don't fall for misinformation, like nothing will even be a threat to them. And then the people who just care about anything basically are just going to just get fucked basically. They can just get shitted on in so many different directions, right? Like, and that's just sort of like the way to navigate social media. It's like at this point, it's not, ooh, hee, we're all just playing games. This shit is war. This shit is a fight for our freedom of expression and our freedom to like also just access these different tools that are now necessary to survive and to function, to integrate within society, right? So it's kind of get to the point now where it's just like you have to create your own worldview. You have to create your own domain expansion. No more renting out somebody else's space, somebody else's domain expansion, and just be at the mercy. Because if you're in someone else's domain expansion, they're the god of that domain expansion. So instead of just being at the mercy of that, you make your own, regardless of its size, whether big or small. It doesn't matter about the size, so long as you can exist in it and insulate it, so long as you can fortify its walls, you can always escape to it, right? Then no one can ever be your bitch. But if you're hiding out in somebody else's worldview and you haven't crafted one of your own, You won't be able to stream. You won't be able to comment on anybody's shit because you don't even know who fucks with you. You don't even know if you're right or not because you've never really thought that much about it, right? And so it just kind of just takes your voice away in respects. Like you don't even know how to represent yourself because you don't know who you are. You've never reflected on that. So if you don't know who you are and you don't know, if you don't, well, first of all, that just negates everything. If you don't know who you are, then you don't know who you truly care about or who truly cares about you because you're looking through a cloudy lens. And you could be finding yourself in a completely strange land filled with strangers and you think you're at home with your closest friends. But meanwhile, you have been in a dream. You've been wearing one of those Oculus Rifts. You've been wearing the VR headset. So imagine taking the VR headset off and it's just like a bunch of stuff that you don't recognize around you. Well, for a lot of people, that's what's happening to them right now. And just much like with Neo when he was originally awakened from the Matrix, the nigga didn't even know how to walk because he had never actually used his legs before, right? So for a lot of people, they're becoming psychically crippled by being shocked into reality, really, or some semblance of what can be defined as reality. And even for me, like if it weren't for my ability to meditate and to ground myself with my beliefs and my thoughts, bro, like I would definitely like lose my grip on reality a lot. But like I know how to regulate that, like having different awakenings can be potentially dangerous. You don't have the right mindset, the right approach, or aren't in the right environment. But social media is sort of like creating this incubation chamber for all the lost souls that have nowhere to go. And so that's why I said I've been on my raid boss, or you could say dungeon raid arc, in the respect of like, as this incubation chamber is being formed, that's literally what a dungeon break is. Like what a dungeon break is like, or not a dungeon break, but like a mana break. Like they have a mana break and then it'll awaken different hunters, right? And that's essentially what's happening is that like, at this point now, if you don't lose access to your autonomy or to your awareness, to everyone else, they'll think you're psychic, you have superpowers, but in reality, you're just awake. That's really all that it is, right? You're just not, your thoughts and actions aren't, they're your own, And like you'll do things that people are like, oh, I didn't think you were able to do that. It's just like, yeah, well, you didn't think of it. That's why, like, you didn't think of it. Like, bro, honestly, like there are certain things. This is why, like, what I find so fascinating doing? I'll be on TikTok just watching people's lives sometimes, just like observing, just like just what kind of person they are, what they're talking about. And what's so crazy is that I've like watched some TikTok lives where somebody will say something about their life so casually that to me, I didn't even think was possible, or like I was like, it was such an unattainable thing to me, but then they made it sound like it was such an easy thing. But then also a lot of times too, like maybe I've been doing something for a few weeks, a month, or years, right? And then somebody who's done something for 10 years, like that I just started, they'll just like casually be like, oh yeah, the first couple of years, just nothing happens. And then after like 5 years, then like it starts, and then after 6, so, so like, that's the other thing too, why I say like, everybody has gone through their own fair share of experiences, in their own order and in different environments. So like, sometimes it's just like, sometimes the answer that might take you your whole life looking for, somebody already has it. And you just need to listen to what the fuck they're talking about for more than 5 minutes, and then be like, wait a second, person like they already built this thing. I'm sitting here reading all these books, trying to figure out how to do it. I'm like, wait, I don't even need to read the books. I'll just copy what they did, steal that. They already did all the research for me. Like, yeah, bro, social media has always been a war, but it's like, you want to be a warrior in a garden, right? It's like, you want your Garden of Eden. You gotta build your wall. You gotta erect your defenses or whatnot. But yeah, creating like that portal, or that arc. It's just like, that heavenly portal, where it's like, all right, if you want to escape hell, you know what I mean? Like, this is the door. All you have to do is walk through it. But see, sometimes walking through the door is the hardest part, because, what happens if you walk through the wrong door and then you just find yourself in a worse situation? And that just is where faith comes into play. You have to kind of like, whatever your belief is, you have to pick something to believe in and trust it, and then take that shit to the finish line, right? Keep switching it up, you're gonna cut yourself running in circles. So, but then once again, in order to come to those conclusions, you got to think about it. And by being able to do that, that gives you a weapon. You're now a Keyblade master. You're now armed to seal the hearts of worlds and to disperse the heartless, right? Passing the Mark of Mastery exam. And then after you've done that, and you got to go out and give Keyblades to other niggas, and then y'all jump Ansem together. Jump the whole organization, right? And like these are all like symbolic for actual things that we experience in our lives and our society energetically. And if you can identify the parallels and the symbolism, then you can follow the advice, you can follow the guidance from the people who have already, like, bro, like you can look no far than, like, let's say you've watched all of Attack on Titan, or you've read all of Attack on Titan, right? Like you can already see how the whole storyline plays out by just watching Attack on Titan. But you can also see which aspects of the story that you don't agree with and which parts that you want to change. And then if you go into your own life, you can be like, all right, I'm going to make this canon, but I'm going to tweak this, because at the end of the day, you're the author of your own source material. You're the author of your own story, right? So like if you're playing out a Sasuke storyline and then you don't like this chapter, you're like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that part where I kill my brother and get his Mangekyo. I'm going to change that. I'm in my storyline. Me and my brother joined forces, and then we both unlock Mangekyos, and then we shit on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, just give myself plot armor. Like, that's all we gonna do. I'm good just chilling at home. I mean, honestly, that's all you really got to do. Really, like, wait until somebody just pulls up and just escorts you to wherever you need to go. Otherwise, it's just like the way I look at it. If the world needs me somewhere, time and space will bend to put me where I'm supposed to be, right? Like this is how it works. Like the more I resist, the longer that's going to take to happen. Anyways, see, that's why I knew I was going to record WAP session. I was like, I don't even remember what the fuck we were talking about originally. You can decide however you want to navigate that, and you don't have to give it a label, and you don't have to really care about how people judge you about that or whatever. In the sense of like, you can navigate what makes sense to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like having it as a value as opposed to just as like, if you go into another society or another culture, they're going to have different values or whatever. But what I would say is that if you truly are like, for a lot of people who they say that they have different understandings or beliefs of sexuality in which it relates to things like religion and stuff like that. But the thing is, if you're truly religious, then everyone is God's children. So if somebody is being gay, or if they have like a different type of sexuality, right? Like that is also divine. That is also God. Like the thing is that there really is no devil. Like everything is creation. Everything is art. And we have this dualistic way of looking at things where we make things black and white, but it's really not like that. It's all gray, right? Like a perfect example is if you what was I even about to say? Like I feel like for me, it's definitely like it's like energetic, but I feel like, you know, I feel like the gayest thing is really, here's the way, like this is why I feel like I started to understand. Because like for me, in my meditation, trying to learn everything, oh, I remember what I was going to say, right? If you are homophobic, or if you like, you don't have to, here's the thing. You don't have to have the same sexuality as that person to like empathize with it. You could still try to at least just understand it from your own perspective. Because once again, this is also an extension of you. So like, if you're homophobic, you're afraid of yourself, right? You probably are the gayest one, bro. Because why are you afraid of yourself? You know what I mean? It's probably you have probably such a powerful thing in you that it's being suppressed. But for me though, what I started to learn though is I'm going to create right now, I'm going to invent a new definition for gay. You ready? All that I see being gay is that you care more about love than you do about um, the matrix, the construct, right? In the sense that you're going to love whoever loves you, reciprocates your love in the way that you want. And that's it. You're not selling for anything less. If you're straight, then you're going to just find whoever fits the societal standard and then just learn to love that person, which that's also viable as well. But at the same time, you need a strong enough incentive to do that, right? Like if somebody's like, oh, they want to fall in love with a rich man, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like it's very easy to do, you know what I'm saying? Like that's still another person. But like maybe somebody is like, you don't really fuck with them that much and they're broke, and then you're just kind of like, well, this is just unreasonable, you know what I'm saying? But once again, that doesn't mean that you can't do that either, right? And like I feel like we all need to prioritize ourselves and our own stability. It's just like that's just kind of world that we live in. But like I feel like realistically being gay is just like you're gay for one person. It's not really about their gender, you know what I'm saying? Just like for whatever reason, 'cause I feel like people can be straight gay, like in terms of like they're a man attracted to a woman, but it's just one woman, or attracted to a woman attracted to a man, but it's just one man, right? And then what if that other person that you happen to create that powerful bond with happens to be the same gender or whatever? You're going to just follow the sexuality parameters that you've been following the rest of your life, or that was told to you, whatever. So like, once again, like, you know, people always like to ship people like Gojo and what was that other nigga's name, bro? His friend, right? Like people a lot, or like Sasuke and Naruto. People always like to ship these characters like in terms of like they might not have a sexual relationship, but they might have a stronger like romantic bond, almost even sometimes somewhere ghetto, yeah. Because like I feel like the idea of a romantic connection is almost like your emotional drive for like what you're doing is like interfacing with another person's in some respects, right? But like at a more deeper level. And like so I feel like for some people it's just like I think of in The Last of Us, right? Like with Ellie, she lived in an apocalypse, right? And then so she only had one other girl like that she could actually connect with. And so that made her like girls, because that's just when she first really truly fell in love. It was another girl. So that's the tools that she was given when her brain was still very elastic to find love, right? So Naruto Sasuke are heavy bros. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like so yeah, so like I feel like for me, once again, the way I see it is like I've always been in a very like collective energy environment, in the sense that like for me, I feel like I'm just sort of like I connect with different types of people in different ways and for different reasons. But like I wouldn't say that like it's almost like there always needs to be a certain level of like crowdsourcing involved. Like I feel like for me, I wouldn't be fully like connected to just like one other person, and like I could be fully connected to one person of like maybe it's like the romantic partner or whatever, but like maybe it would be like, oh, in addition to that, I need somebody who like is like a bro, like, or I need somebody who's like I don't know, like a parental figure or a mentor figure or whatever, or somebody who's like a sister type figure, right? Like somebody who is a girl that you have a platonic, like energetic connection with, and then you're able to navigate and also draw power from that energy as well. You know, like the conversations, like I could be talking to my sister, right? And then she could be talking to me about like the guy she's dealing with or whatever. And that being my sister, right? I'm on her side no matter what, because I could give a fuck about what the other guy's reasoning is, so long as like weird niggas aren't around my sister, right? So then I'll think about like, okay, like that also gives me another perspective too. Also, a lot of niggas are weird. I wouldn't even know this if I didn't get the female perspective, because niggas act different around other niggas. So that also broadens my perspective too. And it just makes you more worldly too. Like you need different types of relationships with people. Like if you only have one type of relationship in your life, then you're going to have tunnel vision. You're not going to understand other types of connections and how that could also benefit the connections that you already have, right? Because once again, even all of these different roles are like, they don't have to like be fixed by age or gender either, right? Like you could have a girl be your bro, you could have a guy be your sis or whatever. Maybe he swing that way, whatever. But you know, and the thing is if you're able to not be like so ego attached to like just under like that's when it's once again, like I said, it's like it helps really know yourself, because then you can just be like, oh, okay, it don't really matter. Like, if someone be like, oh, heavily, oh, that was gay. Like how someone in the chat came, whatever. It's just like, I mean, you can think that, like, it don't really, it's like, it don't really matter. So it's like me once again, if like someone's like, oh, the sky is green, I look and see that it's blue. I'm just like, I mean, I'm just gonna think that nigga's colorblind. Like it's really none of my business. So like, you're not really gonna feel threatened by other people's opinions when you're confident in your own. But in order to know that, you have to truly deeply think about it, meditate on it, right? End up being a 2 hour stream. Yeah, it'd be like that when I get into my rants. But so yeah, so like that's the way I look at it, is that the way I think of things like gender and sexuality and all that stuff like that, it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like it's a game that they have everybody playing to keep them distracted about the things that really matter. And to me, I'm just like, well, so long as I just am being true to myself and like I'm doing whatever seems appropriate to me at the time. Like I just feel like I have a good idea of like the kind of how I feel about certain things. Like I don't necessarily need to put a label on it or define it or whatever. Like I like know there's things that like I would do and things that I wouldn't do in certain situations. So I don't really need to like, I don't really need to feel like that is being challenged when I navigate any space. But then that also allows you to actually pay the fuck attention, right? To like what people are doing, what people are saying, because you're not trying to like preserve your own sense of self simultaneously. You're able to fall back and just absorb what's going on, right? And you can run it through your filter, because like you're not even taking into account other people's filters. Like, you know, like I feel like no matter what anybody says to me or does, like my understanding is my own. I'm the translator at the end of the day, right? So if I recognize that, I'm gonna be like, all right, like it's like I'm gonna open a book and start reading it. I'm not gonna be like if I'm reading a book, I'm just gonna take the information. I'm not gonna be like, what, like, why is this written this way? I mean, well, why is irrelevant? It's written now, and this is what it says, and I got to read it and work with that information. But yeah, so anyway, but that's why I feel like when it comes to like anything, like you can make it in regards to sexuality too. Like if you're Avatar, right? You've been in all the elements, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you had somebody like Zuko who is just like, I'm a firebender, I'm not even going to study the other elements because that shit is gay, right? But then he studies waterbending and then he gets better at firebending. It's like, bro, you didn't need to be a waterbender. You're still a firebender just because you learned, you know, waterbending techniques. Like for me, like I'll be like, yo, these gay guys are really good at grooming themselves. I'm going to go ask them for advice. I'm going to ask them also, girls act differently around gay guys. I'm going to go to them for intel. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I'll just like I'll go to the water temple and learn the water bending techniques so that I go against some other firebender. You don't even know what I'm doing, bro. You never even seen shit like this. I'll start splitting his flames with my palms, you know? So yeah, so like that's once again, and like don't even give it a label or give it a category. That's just like your own energy. So like that's like your masculine, your feminine energy. And if you are a biological male, you're going to have a higher affinity for your masculine energy. And your feminine energy is going to be like, it's going to regulate your masculine energy. But either way, it needs to play a part for you to fully, you know, you need your yin and your yang in order to create the loop, or you'll create chi blocks basically, right? So being able to harness both of those. So for me, obviously, then I'm going to study femininity, not just masculinity, and understand it and like try to integrate that into my chi balancing so I get better at balancing the two polarities, right? Exactly. You can't redirect lightning without learning water bending. So you can be the strongest firebender in the world. You're going to get zapped by lightning. That shit is too fast. You're fucked. If another nigga just knows how to shoot lightning, he just kill you on the spot, bro. But if you know how to redirect lightning, you take that shit and flick it off. You know what I'm saying? You keep sipping your tea, going about what you're doing, right? So yeah, it's kind of like that. Look at your energy like that. Like, don't think like, boy, man, straight, gay, black, white, Asian, Mexican. Just think energy. it'll change colors and it'll do different things. But at the end of the day, at its base, the properties are the same. You know, like if you're playing a video game, you can literally change your gender, you can change your armor, you can change your weapon, whatever. The game doesn't fucking care. It's not going to change. It's not going to stop working if you decide to create a different save and play as a different type of character, right? But like the thing is that once you understand that, then you can be like, oh shit, well, we about to just be doing crazy shit. Like we about to be like Sunraku in fucking Shangri-La Frontier, right? Like we played so many bug games in Shangri-La Frontier. Like nigga, I don't even need clothes, bro. I'll just put a fucking bird mask on. I'll stun on all these niggas.